What's up, all my certified freaks? Welcome back to The Highway with Kyle Shutt. We got a very special guest this week. It's fucking Biff from Saxon. Can you believe this shit? Saxon has a new record coming out this Friday, but stick around to the end of the show because we're going to have a world premiere of one of the tracks off that record. Spoiler alert, it's sick. And be sure to keep up with all the tunes that we play on the show by checking out the Highway with Kyle Shutt playlist on Spotify. It's banging, I promise. And for that matter, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe where you can so that you don't miss a single episode of this show. And if you want to go one step further, you can find us at patreon.com/thehighway. We got all kinds of perks. For a few bucks a month, you can help keep the lights on in my trailer. You can help keep some beer in my fridge. You can get some online guitar lessons from me. All kind of shit. It's rad. Check it out. Season 2 of The Highway is off to a roaring start, and I couldn't have done it without y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Now, I guess it's time for me to put on my denim and leather. Let's do things my way. The Highway. Hey, Biff, what's going on?
You're right.
How you doing?
Good. I'm sorry I'm late. The other guy went over and then my phone messed up. So, yeah.
Oh, no,
okay,
that's
cool.
fine.
So, let's do it now then, yeah.
No worries at all, man. God, I haven't seen you in so long. I don't know if you remember, we met when you were kicking around backstage with Metallica on the Death Magnetic tour while we were opening for them.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, man, that was a real good time, man. And
we were going to do some more, shows with you in Australia, weren't we?
Yeah, but I can't remember why it didn't happen, but yeah.
No, I can't remember why either. Something happened. But anyway, whatever.
Right, yeah, and I remember that because instead of just, I think you, Saxon and the Sword were supposed to do some of the side waves, like the club shows as part of the
that's right.
Sound
Yeah,
Wave
we
Festival
were.
too.
Yeah.
So whenever y'all canceled, they just canceled our show too. They wouldn't even let us fill in, so we we had to kind of pal around with some other people. We ended up playing with like a Devil Driver and then somebody else. I don't know, but yeah, I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But
I was as well. I think one of the guys must have got ill or something. I seem to remember. I seem to remember there's something going down somewhere.
It happened.
Or maybe somebody's wife got ill. It wasn't anything to do with me, but it might have been something like that. I don't know.
Well, you got a new album coming out in February. I got an advanced link to it. It absolutely rips. How do you guys keep doing it?
Probably me, really. I'm a lunatic with the. I like to keep the pressure on. So yeah, I'm a bit. I like trying to get everybody to write something that's special. Every album we do, I like it to be like, on the edge, sort of, going for it.
Hell yeah.
And
it's like your 25th album, is that right? There's so many, at least studio albums.
23rd, is it? 23rd studio album, something like that.
That's absolutely wild. You've been a band for almost 45 years, is that right?
Yeah, 1979, our first album came out. That's when we changed our name. So I suppose we go from there,
Oh, okay.
From 79.
Yeah, it's only 42 years.
Before that, we were just, we were just pissing in the wind before that.
Right. Wasn't what was the name before that? Was it Son of a Bitch?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I bet that was pretty edgy back in those days.
Very heavy, yeah. It was a bit more punky, bit more of a punky outfit then, really.
Uh-huh. What were those early days like? Because between y'all and Priest, and maybe Maiden in there too, you basically invented the new wave of British heavy metal, and that's
well, the thing is, Priest already had a few albums out when we started, though. I mean, the predators by at least 4 albums, I think. I mean, we used to go watch Priest, when we were nothing. Basically, Maiden and Saxon and Leopard and Diamond Head and Target Band, they all started around the same time as we did. So I think musically, probably not age-wise, but musically, Priest and Motorhead were already big. when we came along.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think they probably started the new wave of British heavy metal before we did, to tell you the truth. But we were sort of new bands that people discovered, so it was later our door. But I think Motorhead had a big influence on that movement. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
What were those early days like of touring? You just like hiring vans and things like that, or were you just riding around?
Well, we didn't do a lot of support tours before that. We just traveled around in a van, mm-hmm. a big what we call transit van. Just that's what we did really, just doing clubs and things. Any shows we could get, we'd do. Anything. Didn't matter what it was. We used to play with a bunch of strippers in what they call working men's clubs, and anything really, anything we could do, we'd get. And we'd sort of take over the place, put the desk at the back, put some lights in. So we were pretty much like a cottage industry. We had a pretty much we were just pretending to be a real band really. That's what we were doing, and making demo tapes at the same time, sending them off to everybody. It's pretty rough. We all had to have girlfriends that kept us. That's what the deal was. We were, that's what it was. My girlfriend had a flat and she had a job, so it was cool.
Right. It hasn't changed that much.
She sort of, it hasn't changed at all. She sort of fed me and kept me going really.
That's awesome. Can't do it without those kinds of things in the early days, man. That's wild.
No, I think women made a massive difference to that early rock thing. I think that's always been the case. If you look back, there's always been some girlfriend or some wife there behind the scenes who was supporting some sort of struggling artist. And then usually when they're big, they leave them. It's usually what happens. They just find somebody they think is far more exciting. But I think that doesn't take anything away from the women that stood behind these people, and probably husbands as well with female artists. Probably the same, but probably not as much.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, man. But I gotta say, this new record sounds absolutely fantastic. Your voice is more powerful than ever. I mean, like, it's unreal, those notes that you can still hit after all these years. Do you take care of it really, or do you just kind of like live your life and that's just the way
No, I don't really. No, I don't. I don't drink hard liquor. That can mess up your vocal cords. It
Mm-hmm.
can burn them. So yeah, no, I don't drink hard liquor. If I'm drinking anything, I'll be drinking wine. I will have the odd shot of sambuca or rum.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, I'm a wine sort of guy. But we do go on cocktail parties sometimes when we're out and about. We've had some quite famous ones. When we were touring with, anyway, it's another story. But yeah, if we hit the cocktails, we'll hit them hard.
That's really funny. Yeah, well, I try to do the thing, and I fail miserably. But where I try to, especially on tour, the drinking can kind of get out of control. So I try to drink every other day. You know what I mean? To just sort of take care of myself that way. But it's tough, man. Once you start a bender, you kind of have to keep it going.
Yeah, I think the partying thing. I mean, luckily we don't party when we're making albums, so we're sort of focused on working, But I think live, is very difficult because apart from the show, it's really boring. Traveling between shows,
Absolutely.
Especially if it's a long way on the tour bus, and you're in there with all your mates and your gang, and it's just really, we've had some great bus parties. I mean, a lot of them are on YouTube actually, but we've had some. It's just like a gang, isn't it?
It is.
Whether it's a guy gang or a girl gang, it's just being out there with like-minded people, and we just get pissed and listen to heavy music. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
If we get really pissed, we might listen to ABBA or something like that, So or if sometimes gets really melancholy, you know.
That's right.
Start listening to really sad music, and everybody's really like miserable and depressed.
Oh,
and then we'll put on some AC/DC and bounce back again, you know. So that's all right. Yeah,
I think that's really funny.
So yeah, the albums are more focused. Yeah, so you know, I can concentrate. But touring is hard. You know, trying to stay off the sort of the booze, definitely.
Yeah, that's really funny that you said the listening parties, because a lot of people think that, you know, people in metal bands, we just listen to heavy metal all day long. That's all we listen to. It's quite the opposite, actually. But most of the time,
it is. You know, because a lot of music comes out, you know, from your youth and what you used to listen to and what your parents listened to. So, you know, you're just as easily on a bus party. You'll just as easily hear Sabbath, Chuck Berry, you know, the Eagles. You know, like Led Zeppelin, Journey. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's weird. You know, you might get some Supremes in there, or you know, some James Brown. So it's a really mixed bag of music that most musicians are into, really. Yeah, but getting back to the album, yeah. So you know, my voice on albums, I'm able to focus a little bit more on where I am with it, timbre-wise, if you know what I mean.
I mean, I was going to say, like, singing for me just doesn't really, like, I have to really work at it, but it just seems like it just comes out of you like that. You know what I mean? It's just like those super high notes and stuff like that. It's really something to behold. And live, so didn't you hopped on stage with Metallica a couple of those shows, didn't you?
Yeah, I've been on stage a couple of times with them, yeah.
That was where I first saw you.
Motorcycle Man, I think we did.
That's right.
Off the Wheels of Steel album, yeah. So yeah, I mean they were pretty into us in the 80s. I think you know, both I think Lars and James, and obviously you know, well, the whole band. I think. I mean, you know, everybody really in that first Metallica.
Yeah, absolutely, and Lars was. He was great about coming on our bus, and he back in those days he would this week before, you know, the streaming and all that stuff, he would just burn us CDs of all the old bands that he was into, like all the old new wave stuff, and found out about so many bands that way. He really is. He gets a lot of flack, but he's a music fan. I mean, he's a real just champion of music.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I sat and talked to him till the early hours of the morning a few times. So yeah, he loves that era, and you know, yeah, they do. You know, I mean, I think all of them did. I mean, when we played with them in America the first time in 1980, I think, or 81, they played at the Whiskey A Go Go with us. You know, it was the original band. You know, so yeah, I mean, I think they were heavily influenced by Saxon, Motorhead, Maiden, Priest. You know, all those bands.
It was really cool seeing you hop on stage with them, and they would do that a lot. And if we were anywhere that anyone of note lived, they would just try as hard as they could to get them to come up on stage. Were you at the?
Yeah, well, they didn't even tell me they were doing that. And I just turned up in like a pair of old jeans and a hoodie. You know, you know what I mean? And then they're like, "Oh yeah, do you want to get up with us?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." So they whisked me off to this, container that was their rehearsal room, which obviously helps, you know. So we rehearsed Motorcycle Man, and it was straight on, you know, rehearse on. You know what they're like. They rehearse, and if they're going to do like a cover song, they rehearse it, then go straight to stage, you know. So they're ready, and it's still in their mind. So it's great. Actually, great the way they do that. They care about it so much. They just rehearse it a couple of times before they actually play it on stage. It's great that. So yeah, it was good, you know. And then the second time was at their was it 30th anniversary? Up there in San Francisco. Yeah, must have been their 30th anniversary. Or was it their 40th? No, it must have been their 30th anniversary. I did 2000 and I don't know when it was.
Yeah,
I can't remember what year it was. I went over and we did it again.
That's
basically.
Awesome.
And I remember they said to me, "Are we playing this right, Motorcycle Man?" I went, no, actually, you're not. So they went up and had to listen to it and went, yeah, you're right, man. We're not playing it right. So then they rehearsed it right. Then it's just the guitar riff was different, but just that I can't say it's just a different notes in the run on the guitar. Because Paul Quinn's not the is not he doesn't have any rules. Paul, he'll just play really weird scales and things. So that sort of run on Motorcycle Man's quite unique. And if you don't actually, what you hear is not actually what he's playing. You know what I mean? If you listen to it very, very carefully, you can catch it. It just sounds like a simple run, but it's not. Anyway, they got it right on that one. Yeah, we played the Fillmore, I think. I played the Fillmore with him in San Francisco there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Man,
yeah.
I remember at one of the London shows, Lemmy was supposed to show up, and I think they were going to play Bomber or something like that. I can't remember exactly what, but we were really excited.
Yeah.
I had never met him before, and I still never got to, and that's okay. But so we were in our dressing room, and the dressing room next to ours, they put a little sign up that just said Lemmy. It was going to be his room. They put a bottle of Jack in there, a couple bottles of red wine. We saw all of his gear getting loaded in, and it was during the actual filming of the Lemmy movie, and so a film crew was there. They were going to document the whole thing, and he never showed up. I was like, if there's one person in the world that can stand up Metallica, it's fucking Lemmy.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Lemmy probably out gambling or something. Where was it?
It was supposed to be at the O2 in London. Yeah,
it was probably out a club somewhere, and either forgot or thought, oh, fuck it, It was like that, Limbo. It was like that. He could do that, definitely. I can picture Lemmy doing that. Definitely.
Was there did you y'all ever tour with Motorhead back in those days?
With Motorhead?
Mm-hmm.
Our first tour was with Motorhead in 1979.
Damn.
So they were massive then in the UK, absolutely massive. So yeah, they launched our career basically from that tour. We did that. Then we did Nazareth after that, and then I think the album came out, and the second album came out and went through the roof.
That's absolutely incredible. Was that around the time that y'all did the Monsters of Rock?
Monsters of Rock in 1980. It was after that tour.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we were still on our first album when we did the Motorhead tour, but we were playing songs off which would have been the new album, Wheels of Steel. Yeah. So when we finished the Motorhead tour, the album came out and went really high in the charts and things, and so then we did the Nazareth tour. Well, Wheels of Steel was out, and then we did the Wheels of Steel tour, part 1, 2, and 3. So it was never ending, really.
Yeah.
And then we did, from Montreal, we did Judas Priest. That was our first European tour. And we did Judas Priest. They were British Steel, I think, and we were Wheels of Steel. So it was a double steel. So yeah, that was great. That launched us into Europe, really great. So, yeah, both those bands, we owe them a lot for that initial touring that we got off them.
How different was touring Europe back in those days when every country had a different, monetary, unit? And
well, it was crazy, but it'd been like that for hundreds of years, so people were just used to it. Pounds and Deutschmarks and francs and lira. Yeah, you just had. I mean, a lot of it was cash back then as well, so people had to use a sack full of cash all the time. It's like, you can have whatever you want, but no cash. That's what the managers used to say. You can have whatever you want, but no cash. So because they wanted it all, obviously. So yeah, there was a lot of cash and a lot of briefcases with handcuffs on. That sort of thing.
Man,
it's crazy. But yeah, it's crazy, really. We used to tour with, 3 or 4 trucks back then, and one of them would be for merch. You know, it was big business then.
Mm-hmm.
But still is, but back then it was like a newly discovered thing, you know. T-shirts and bands. I think the 80s was when it really came in strong, you know.
And those actual shirts, even the ones from the 90s now, are going for absolutely crazy money. Because I used to find old, you know, rock and roll tees from the 70s that for, you know, $10. Now you can't find one for less than like $300-$500. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've got a big stack somewhere with all the old T-shirts in it. I was thinking about selling some off for charity, actually. So I might go and have a look before Christmas, see what there is there.
I was going to say that, or that's your retirement plan. You know, either one.
Yeah, if I got a retirement plan, then maybe that would be it. Yeah, right. Exactly.
No, but you know, I could see you. It's kind of like Leonard Cohen. Like he was on tour until he died. I mean, like I think he like finished tour and 4 days later, like, he was like 85 years old or something like that. That's when he died. I've always kind of like thought that about me. I was like that. I'm probably just not gonna stop. You know what I mean? I think I'm. I don't know if I'm crazy or stupid or what, but I'm just gonna. Yeah, I look up to people like you because it's just, you know, you just never stopped. You know, just that's just crazy how you.
Well, I think if you can still perform though and put a show on, you know, there's no reason to stop. I mean, I know a lot of people say, you should back in, leave room for new bands. Well, there's plenty of room for new bands. Just get some songs written. You know, that's exactly the key. You know, I mean, we don't. Wasn't Maiden and Judas Priest don't take up any space that new bands would have because we tour on a higher level. But you know, we always try and take. You know, probably not on the next tour, but we always try and take some new bands out with us. You know, to give them some sort of chances to get in front of an audience. You know, but it's like, I mean, you have to work really hard being the first band on.
Yeah.
That's not easy. You know, it's not easy, especially if the audience are absolutely fanatical about the headline act. You know, it can be quite hard. It was quite hard for us, you know, on all these early tours. We had to work really hard.
I bet. And it's crazy, like thinking about all those old tours opening for like Nazareth and Priest and stuff like that. But because, like, you know, my generation kind of like, those are our, you know, y'all, all of you are like our heroes, you know, who we look up to and everything. But and the old adage is, you know, never meet your heroes. But I've rarely been disappointed by meeting mine. What were some of your heroes, and did you ever get to meet any of them?
Let's see. I didn't really have so many heroes per se, because when I first started, I was a bass player. You know, I was a bass player in the bands that I played in. I played bass and sang, so I suppose I was a bass player first and a singer second back in them days. So I was really into, you know, I did meet a lot of people actually in the 80s when we started to become a lot bigger. But some of them were a bit weird. You know, but most of them were great, you know. I mean, you know, I met Phil Lynott a few times. You know, partied with him a couple of times. So he was a nice, funny guy, you know. He was good. Yeah. I mean, I met Chris Squire. I was a big fan of Chris Squire because he was the great bass player from Yes, and I was into prog rock back in them. And I met him at an awards ceremony, and I went up and I said I was a huge fan, you know, when I was younger playing bass. And he went, "Oh, really?" And sort of walked off. So it was a bit disappointing, you know. So yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah,
you can't win them all. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't nasty. He just wasn't interested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Well, man, do you? I mean, I know the world is kind of upside down right now. Even though we think we're able to hit the road and everything like that, we still keep hitting setbacks around every corner. You can't predict it anymore. But do you have any plans to try to tour on the new record?
Well, we made this album through a massive adversity. You know, I had a heart attack, and we had COVID, and we managed to get the album finished. We do have some touring plans next year. Yeah, we're supposedly doing some huge 40th anniversary shows in January in the UK, hopefully, which involve castles and eagles and things. And then I think the next plan would be to come to America on the release of this album, Carpe Diem, probably with a package with Uriah Heep.
Oh man, and, that's another band that just they never stopped.
Yeah, they're great as well. You know, they're survivors, aren't they?
Absolutely, man. And you know what? I think the last record of theirs that I heard, I think this the one that came out in 2015. It sounded exactly like they used to. I mean, just they haven't really changed all that much at all musically, and they still just rip.
Yeah, it's great album. Their last one. They're on the same record label now, so obviously we'll be hearing and seeing them a lot more, probably.
I love a rock band with an organ. I mean,
sorry?
I said I love a rock band with an organ in there. You know what I mean? Just like the big fat, just
yeah, we've never had an organ in the band. The band I was in, a few bands before Saxon in the 70s, we had a Hammond player, but unfortunately the thing was so fucking heavy that we decided to get rid. We decided to sack him and get a guitarist instead. So my organ playing, with an organist was very short.
Uh-huh.
He had a mellotron as well, which was even heavier.
Right? Yeah. Oh my God.
So we just couldn't be bothered carrying him in and out the shows because and they took up a lot of space in the van as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Leslie is the size of a small refrigerator. I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, it is. It's the size of a cooker and weighs twice as much. So yeah, it was a great sound though when it's distorted. It really sounds great. It's not dissimilar to a guitar. I mean, I can imagine "Smoke on the Water" being written on organ.
Absolutely.
That riff sounds just as well on organ as it does on guitar, actually.
Did you ever get to tour with Deep Purple or anything like that?
Pardon?
Did you ever get to tour with Deep Purple?
Yeah, we've played with Deep Purple loads of times. Yeah, we've done a lot of touring with Deep Purple, festivals and tours. I love Deep Purple; they're fantastic. We did a big tour of bull rings in Spain with them, in I think maybe 2002, something like that. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's great. When you're playing to like 12,000 people every night, it's different touring.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, it's just a different level.
Absolutely. There was that time when we were playing shows like that, and I think there was like a 2-week period where every show that we played was the biggest show I had ever played. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like each one was bigger than the last one. It was nuts. I think it culminated in Istanbul. We ended up playing for like 70,000 people or something like that. It was absolutely insane. It looked like the Monsters of Rock poster. You know what I mean? Like
okay, that was with Metallica, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the first tour we ever did in America was with Rush on the Moving Pictures tour, which must have been 1980 actually, and that's the first time I'd ever played venues that big. Mm-hmm. 20, 25,000 people. So we did that Rush tour, and we actually learned a lot of that. They were great, actually. They were great guys, and we did a lot of shows, actually. We did about 50 shows with them on that first tour we ever did.
Man, that's crazy.
In a van, I might add.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah, in a van, yeah. Yeah.
Man, I bet you brought home a load, man. I'm just seriously, because every time I see bands playing tiny clubs in tour buses, I just see money on fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, crazy.
Oh man. Well, I always ask, my guests if you'd like to play a song off the new record. Is there one that just really speaks to you? I mean, we can play Carpe Diem if you want. I know, but that single's kind of already out. But if there's another one that you'd like to play ahead of time,
well, I don't if we're allowed to do that yet. But,
you can do whatever you want.
I don't know. Yeah, all right, okay. It's one of them shows, is it?
Yeah.
Probably play Pilgrimage.
You got it.
I was gonna call the album Pilgrimage, and it's a bit slower song than the heavier, more aggressive song on the album. But yeah.
Well, we're going to play
Definitely.
that. Thanks so much for sitting down and talking with us, Biff. I really appreciate it. I've got a mountain of respect for you. Y'all have, paved the way for so many bands, and I couldn't do what I do, and so many other people couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for people like you. So thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll try and get you some payback for the gigs we cancelled in Australia one day.
It sounds like a deal, man.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Biff.
See you later. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Highway with Kyle Shutt. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe if you want to keep up with the latest episodes. And don't forget to check out the Highway with Kyle Shutt playlist on Spotify to keep up with all the rad tunes that we play on the program. And if you need some new gear in your life, don't forget to check out Reverend Guitars, Railhammer Pickups, Idiot Box Effects, and Ray Decker Cables. Stay high, everybody. We'll see you next week.